In this session we're going to start looking at how to use a cascading style sheet. But before we do that, we need to look at the various views that we can use in Dreamweaver. One of the first ones we'll have is in designer view. You can also have it in live view. Live view is how you would actually see it on the website as it gets constructed, but most people will work in a design view. Another one you can have is split view. What this gives us is not only what could be code, but also the design view at the same time. So most people actually work in those two. If you're working in a live view, the good thing about the live view is you can actually see where the body tags start and end, and also what sections, if you're using div tags, what belongs to what tags. So this helps us orientate ourselves around the document a lot better. But for this time, we'll be working design view, and we'll flick between that and the code view as we develop our website. One of the first things we need to do is actually create a new folder. So we need to create a new folder for all our assets. So we're going to call this assets. And this is where you would actually put any documents, any pictures and things that are common across a lot of pages. So asset files are very, very important, and they help us keep such things as logos, etc. all organized within our website. One of the first things I actually want to place in here is actually a tile. We can actually go on the website and actually do a search for, like in my case I've done ruled paper repeating tiles, and it creates, and you can find different ones. So to do that, open up a file, save that, then you need to copy this. So you can actually copy this file, and you need to place it within the structure of your website. So now I've got an asset file in here, I can paste it, and now that will be a part of my assets. You can't see it at the moment, but when it refreshes you can. If it doesn't refresh straight away, click this little button here. This will refresh your local site files. And therefore now we've got a collapsing folder that we can actually see that. We can drag that out onto the page, and you can actually see the web page using that image. Now the image is actually static at the moment, I can't have text on it. But what I'd like to do is make that image as part of the background of this page, but not only just be one copy of it, but I want it to repeat and also go down the page, so it looks like I'm working on some lined paper. To do that, first of all, I'm going to delete this now by just highlighting, push and delete. I'm going to have to set up a cascading style sheet. Now we said in the previous video we need to create a CSS folder, which we've done, but now we actually need to create a CSS file. To do that, I'm going to go up to CSS Designer, and this is new in this version of Dreamweaver, and sometimes causes a little bit of confusion because it works differently than versions in the past. First thing we need to do is create a source. So I'm going to click on the plus sign and create a new CSS file. I only give that a name at the moment, and we can browse. So I'm going to actually browse through to the folder, click on CSS and save it as global. So in this CSS file, and then click on save and click on OK. But before I click on OK, just to let you know that this is a global one. This will apply to all files that are within my site, and therefore any HTML document can link back to this. We're going to link to this file, and you can import from other ones, but we're not importing at the moment, so we're going to just click on OK. Now this has actually made us a global CSS file, and now we can actually look at making some rules for our page. Now underneath selection, well, we've got a media section at the moment, and it's global, but underneath selection I want to add a new one. At the moment it's got the body tag for us, and this is the one that we want to edit. So I'm going to press enter and help create a new rule for our body tag. To do that, I'm going to head down through the different tiles here. Now notice if you have show set, this is what you'll see. Make sure show set is unchecked, and that way you can actually scroll down. What I want to do is head down, and one of the first things I want to do is actually add this image to the background. Now the image to the background is fairly far down the list, as you notice on my slider here, and we can actually set a background color if we'd like. So we can actually go through and say if I wanted it red, I can select enter and everything goes red, and it'll make a rule for that. At the moment we don't want that, so what we want to be able to do is make that, and then go across and select disable, and you notice that now that there's no rule there. If I wanted to, I can also click on the bin, that removes that CSS property from our list, and therefore the body tags back to a transparent background. Now in this section here, I can either link to a URL from a website. I can have a gradient if I'd like, but I would like to find a file and a path. So I'm going to select that area and then click on Browse. When I click on Browse, I'm going to go through to my assets and select the line paper and click on Open. Now you notice that the paper is automatically tiled through my page. If I wanted to, I could just have it going across, going just down once, or I can just have one instance of that as the background. But I'm looking for the tiled effect. Now once you've finished applying that body tag rule, remember you need to save your page, but also more importantly you need to see the global CSS, which has now created a nice little CSS rule for us, and we need to save this file as well. As you can tell, it has a star, so we need to hold down Command and Save. Now both those are saved, so if we close the page and then head back to our files, when we open up our index.html, automatically not only is the HTML document opened, but also the CSS rule has been applied. And we can either go back to the designs of that, or we can have a look at the code of the HTML. Otherwise, if I select the CSS, we can actually see the CSS code that's been applied to our global CSS page. So make sure before you close any page, all the stars are gone, knowing that you've updated and saved your work.